Allie, Stephen, and Nick. Thank y'all for joining us for this podcast. Thank you. You guys are in the flight club for Aiken-Augusta Aviation, and I brought you guys here, and Nick, our flight instructor, I brought y'all guys here to talk about the flight club, and I almost said fight club. I did. And to kind of get Danny on board with what we're doing, because he always knows that I go and fly.
He always talks.
He always talks.
I talk. He flies.
Yeah. He always goes, what are you doing today? Well, I've got a flight lesson here and there. He's like, oh, okay.
I honestly thought he was making that up. I thought that was a bar.
Just a way to not
So
do
he was like,
work.
I'm going
to the library.
flight club
The
today.
office.
Yeah.
And then he had alcohol in his breath, and I was
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
I get it.
How many flights did you have? So, but Danny always, is kind of kept in the dark about it, and I thought you guys would be a great guest to kind of talk about what we do and how this came about. So.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the flight club. I know that flying right now in Aiken is pretty popular. I've heard of other people doing it, talked to other people, young people too, which is amazing.
Wild, yeah.
Yeah, I mean like high school, college kids. So just tell me the idea behind the flight club and where it came from.
So, Stephen likes to fly, which I'll let him talk about how he loves flying. I like to travel, so I think the motivation was to kind of hit both of our needs. I want to see the world. I want to see it make it as easy and convenient as fast as possible. So even like weekend trips, if you do it in a plane, your distance for the weekend becomes a lot further. Like we could go skiing and go up for the weekend if we wanted to, and it's fine. So most things that I think about, like with my other businesses, is how does this serve my goal of traveling? And so this is something to serve that goal. So that was kind of the motivation for me.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
He likes planes.
that was certainly part of it, but I enjoy flying, just even staying around here. It's just
to get
so
out.
much fun, yeah. And it's very relaxing too. So I feel like a lot.
Funny enough.
I feel like a lot of people don't think it's relaxing.
I can just go to sleep on
But
it
it is.
Just
It's
so
like
relaxing.
the hum of the engine. It feels like a white noise. I don't know.
As like you're feeling like you're going to throw up every time.
You loved it.
I mean, I've had such a great time flying.
So I enjoyed it just doing it in itself, but obviously the travel aspect.
And how
of
long
it's
have you
really
been
nice.
flying?
I started my first lesson like 8 years ago, and then I didn't do it again for many years. I just didn't have the time nor the funds to make it happen. It's a little pricey to do lessons and rent
That
planes.
really gets people on board to our flight club.
Well, the flight club is actually the reason why we did that, because it was so much more expensive to rent planes, and we found that it was going to be way cheaper to actually purchase a plane and have a couple partners to do this together. Then it's like, this is actually fairly reasonable in comparison. And then you have an asset, then you can turn around and sell at the end of it.
I'm glad you brought that up because, again, Dean and I were talking, and he was like, yeah, I think I'm going to go with some folks, and we're going to possibly purchase a plane. And I was like, purchase a plane? I mean,
That blew his mind.
Yeah, the normal
It blows
person,
lots of people's mind.
I'm thinking $500,000, $600,000, $800,000 or something. I had no clue. So when he said $2,500 for a really nice plane, really surprised me. He said it came with wings too, no propellers,
No engine, no.
yeah, but a full tank of gas. So I was like, man, that's pretty nice, baby. I need to buy one. No, but seriously, when people hear you guys bought a plane, obviously they think of mega bucks. Tell me about, tell me what you paid, but I mean, give me an idea of what's that like.
I mean, honestly, it's cheaper than a lot of new cars, like the one that we found. I mean, we found a 1959 172A. It's a Cessna. I mean, it was actually fairly reasonable. There's some things that needed to be done, and we figured out how to get those done. We found
I want to be clear. Stephen is saying we.
Stephen really drove the
And
boat.
I give credit and take credit where it's due. And when we say we, I didn't do anything.
Listen, we're married. We get that. Yeah, we get that.
I mean, we had a lot of. I say we.
By
I mean, we. we put in, like, we would send each other planes and stuff. And what about this one? What about this one?
I never
Thomas,
looked at it.
Thomas,
did too.
our third, you know,
A ton of
a
looking.
bunch.
Yeah. I feel like Steven and
Every now and then you would chime in and be like,
sarcastic comments, something like that. That was not helpful.
Thomas was a valedictorian. Steven wasn't, but like acts like it, kind of like really smart.
That was unnecessary.
So he wasn't, because Thomas was, because we graduated together. So he, but I didn't have to because I knew they were gonna.
they were doing it.
They were doing all those detail things.
It's better that she kind of stayed out of it.
Yeah.
I remember, Stephen, when you were originally at our flight school before you bought the airplane, he would text me random airplanes and be like, is this a good purchase option? I'm like, well, first of all,
Pooh, so he wasn't as smart as I think. Not as smart as I thought. Never mind.
But
Why he wasn't the valedictorian.
I knew to bring in the expert.
He knows who to reach out
It's
to.
okay. We can edit that out.
it's either there's no GPS, the avionics are original to the airplane from 1950s, and there's all this other stuff. And he's like, do you think it'd be a good airplane to like buy and repair? And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
Let's
You
work
always
on a
tiptoe
plan that,
around
yeah.
stuff, and you just be blunt with us, man. We got time for this crap.
No, this is dumb. Don't do that.
you would either send me a really good airplane, it's absolutely amazing, and the price would be skyrocketing, and that's something you can't control. That's other people thinking that, Or you would send me a really terrible airplane, and it's just like, it's like, what if we just like spend a couple of bucks to repair it? And I'm like, you
Couple of
are
bucks.
better off
Yeah.
buying a whole new airplane, building your own, even as an option.
Getting
And I
a
was like,
kit.
yeah.
We discussed that.
We did. Yeah.
You sent me that the 172 that you guys settled on, and I was like, man, this airplane's actually
you
perfect.
really did light up when we got that one, and we all did.
Very reasonably priced. Has a lot of good stuff in it. It has a glass cockpit, which is actual screens in front of you instead of the old analog gauges, and it had GPS, of which a lot of older airplanes of that year don't usually have anymore. And I was looking at it, and I'm like, this is a really good airplane price. What's wrong with it?
Yeah.
Oh, so number
That's the
one
first
that was my
thing
question.
you say.
But nothing was wrong with it. The only thing you guys had to do was replace a battery, I think 3 spark plugs. You've replaced the whole set of them, but that was it. And really, for to buy an airplane for a great price, and all you had to do is get a new battery and fix spark plugs, you guys walked away.
Yeah, no. I think we got very lucky. Well, I mean, we were digging through the pile to find something, a diamond in the rough, which took a lot of effort to do.
So when you go and look at the plane, do you kick the tires and just check that out?
So you have to. Yeah, that's it. That's all you have
Kick
to
the
do.
tires, light the fires.
Press on it. a
So
little bit.
there's a pre-buy process. So I got hooked up with this company, Savvy Aviation, and they found a mechanic. The plane was out in Texas. It wasn't around here. So I never went to Texas to look at it. I got hooked up with an A&P, so I'm an airplane mechanic. And so they did a pre-buy inspection. That was like 2 full days of them looking at every nook and cranny of it. And then he was like, this is a really, like, the guy was like, you got
if you don't
lucky
buy it, I
here.
will.
It's like, you got lucky here.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, let's do this thing.
Yeah.
And so then the owner of the plane actually ferried it over here. So we were all here,
Yeah.
and we watched it
It was
fly
actually
in.
really
Yeah.
cool.
It was very cool.
It was really cool.
Yeah, that was a good experience.
Like the plane was coming in, the sun was setting. Like it was.
That's us, because we could follow it on the.
Yeah, we were watching it on our phones, like coming
Yeah.
across the country, and then
Yeah.
we'd watch him land right here.
We'd send each other. He'd send screenshots, and it's here now.
Like, you can come to the the pilot didn't think about
Even you
the,
came. Oh yeah, you had to make sure
I had to
it
do
was
the
real.
test flight.
We really need. Did you come because you were excited or because you had to be here?
I came because Steven's like, hey, you can use the airplane when we're not flying it. And I was like, absolutely amazing.
Be right there.
And Nick was here, and he
I thought you were part of the family, Nick.
he did a test flight as soon as the plane landed with the owner. Yeah, so they went up. Just each little plane, especially a 1959 plane, a lot of differences, right? So you had to kind of learn how to start it appropriately. There's a lot of nuances there. So I was
Every
appreciative
plane
that the
starts
owner.
differently for the characteristics of the plane and the engine and stuff. Sometimes you got to love on it and everything. So
Spin the propeller.
why not? You can do that.
Okay.
You can hand prop it. I wouldn't do it.
No, I wouldn't either. So you got.
Well, tell me what hand propping is.
I have no clue.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that either.
Yeah, but it had hand and prop, so I'm out. So you guys got together, formed the club, ended up buying the plane. You checked it out. Everything was great. Obviously, a great deal was worth it. And then, so where does the flight club go from here? What services? So you said it was to use it for so you guys can travel, for you to enjoy the flying. You're still getting your license.
Yeah, we both are.
Okay, so both
Yeah,
of
we're
you are.
I mean,
working.
I could be too.
Well, she was, and then she
I
like
got my feelings hurt.
faded out on us, and I was like, "Get back in the cockpit."
Yeah. I just get sick and I got my feelings hurt and I got mad. I'm pouting. I'm in the pouting
Yeah,
phase.
we'll get her back.
Yeah. I'll get jealous when they're flying. Yeah, I have major FOMO.
But in the
But anyway, for the future,
Yeah.
I think that is endless. Like I've got a bunch of potential ideas, possibilities. Maybe it's all of them. Maybe we're a niche
Pick
and
and choose
right.
what-
And I really think it's going to stem from the profitability and or how do we want to use a plane? Where are we wanting to go?
We don't know that yet for ourselves.
Because we haven't
still
done it by
discovering
ourselves
ourselves.
yet. So I think it all depends on where is the money taking us and where's our heart taking us. But like, where do we want to use
But
it?
that has to make sense. That has to make sense financially, because you can just, in aviation, as Nick knows, you can just dump a ton of money.
And then at
into
that
something.
point, what's the point?
And we
You're
don't-
putting in work
and we
when
don't
you
want to
could
do
dump
that at
money
all.
and do no work.
Right.
So is one of the goals or options to have people rent the plane to earn their
Like
license?
have like a flight school? Yep.
That is.
I mean, a flight
one
school,
of the
a charter.
ideas.
I mean, those are like, I would say the two.
We talked
Tours.
about doing like a wheels up situation, sort of, but more of a. Remember that show Wings?
Yeah.
Remember that show? Yeah, something like that where we just like maybe charter people to.
Yeah, and go to locations that aren't available through Augusta's airport
Yeah,
or
like
Columbia's airport. Like go into Jekyll Island
Yeah.
or the Outer Banks or something like
See,
that,
and
which
like-
is a different thing than you have. And it's a long drive, you know. So it's like this might be this weird niche that people would be interested in doing.
And also think Aiken is such a big horse community, and we have a lot of people from the north that come in winter here. So just you come to Aiken and you fly to another regional airport in their horse community,
Right.
and you're not having to go from Augusta to, I'm making this up, but Augusta to New York City to
Rent a car.
whatever. You know, it just can be a direct.
You find this niche. Yeah.
So I had I still have some clients that live up north.
Oh, they didn't fire you yet?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Give them some time. But they're in flight clubs, or they own their own plane, and they would leave from Pennsylvania. They would hit a couple places all the way down, and they would fly into either Aiken or the Trenton airport. And I would pick them up there. We would go look at properties, and then they would get back in the plane and fly to Florida or whatever. And I always thought that was pretty cool that they would do that instead of, commercial or driving down even.
Well, it really does. It's just save so much time, because even if you do commercial, you have to get there how long before? Wait for your luggage, all of these
And
things.
the unpredictability. I mean, we just recently
Yeah.
had that shut
Crowd
down.
strike.
Yeah.
Right. But I will say too, like in our situation, there's some unpredictability. You were supposed to fly
Well,
Monday and you
weather,
weren't able
right?
to.
Weather 'cause it
So, like, I
affects us more so now because we're so young at flying and,
right.
and
Yeah,
everything.
as
so.
we get more ratings, IFR
Yeah.
and things like
But
that.
I still think like with this, there is a little bit of unpredictability, which worries me about
The
charter.
Oh, right.
Like going in that direction if we aren't able to take somebody because of the weather.
Yeah, you'll still have to
Whereas
deal
when
with
you're in these big
cancellations.
commercial flights, you can fly through more.
Or
than
we
what,
have, let's go with this plane over here instead. We're going to rebook you very quickly. And if we have
the
one
start of it.
and then something goes down, well,
But
we'll
as
have to wait till this gets fixed. So it's,
like if it can grow, you can have more planes, more availability. Like it can grow.
Options.
But those are like some of the things that I'm like,
Has us.
that's
a lot. I mean, this whole thing, even to get to the point that we are today, was a lot of thought, a lot of effort, a lot of planning and things like that. So.
and I think it's gonna be the same thing. It's just gonna be like a lot of talk, and it's like, let's just do it. Like we're just gonna do it, and if we fail, we tried.
Right. We still got
You
the plane.
learned something. Still got a plane.
We got a great deal on that plane.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Nick, bring you in here. So, give us a little bit about your role with them, your own role. I understand you're a contractor, so you're able to do anything and everything that you want or that your clients need you to do. So, tell me, how long have you been a flight instructor, and where you base out of, and kind of how you play into
And then
everything.
who's your favorite student?
Oh, that'll be a fun one. Yeah, but I got my license from a university, MTSU, that I went to college with, and I got my license 2 years ago in August, and I've been nonstop instructing since June of last year when I came back from college here. And really the process is you have a couple options once you get your rating. You can go to a flight school that has a structured regiment called Part 141, of which at that point you have nonstop flights almost every day, 8 or 9 students constantly rotating in or out. Or
I
you
would be so
have
sick.
or you have the Part 61, which is more commonly known as the mom and pop shops, which is what we have at Aiken, where you are more individually based with a client. You get to know them better, you get to know their habits better, and it's more freedom on your end because you're not tied down to a large school. And so that's what I kind of do on the Part 61 side. So I am based in Aiken. However, if someone has a plane in Columbia, Charleston, anywhere, I will gladly, go to them and help them fly, and I do that occasionally. So really, it's just the freedom of whoever has a plane that I can fly with.
How do you advertise?
How do I advertise?
It's such a unique niche.
It's a lot of word of mouth. Many pilots, especially going for their commercial rating, they'll learn about common carriage, which is for holding out, moving person or property from place to place for compensation or hire. That's the rule that the FAA says. You're not allowed to do that unless you work for a company like they were talking about that does charter flights. And holding out is self-advertising. But as a flight instructor, we're allowed to self-advertise. So if I wanted to, I could start like buying Facebook ads and posting that out there. I don't have the money to do that all the time. So it's a lot of word of mouth. It's a lot of business cards. Believe it or not, the most common way it just comes up is when people ask me is, oh, what do you do for a line of work? And I say, well, I work 2 jobs. I have a really cool job over here that's absolutely amazing. And then I have flight instruction. And then
Scary, super scary.
Yeah, and so once they hear that, I give them a business card, and then, 2 months later, they call me up and be like, hey, remember me from this area? And I'm like, absolutely I do. What's your name again? And so that's how it usually goes.
Sound like a relate there.
Yeah. You sound like a realtor.
Welcome.
Send me your credit score while you're. I swear I remember you by 780. Nice. So that's how you got involved with them. They found you out and.
Yeah, I was instructing at Aiken Flyers, which is the local flight school at Aiken, and Steven was a student of another instructor there who's also the guy that trained me. His name is John. John looked at me and said, hey, I have 14 students right now. I need you to take some. This is when I first started there. And so he gave me 5 students, and one of them was Steven. And Steven immediately...
My wife's a
got passed
teacher.
off, right?
My wife's a teacher.
We know how that goes.
The bottom 5. They
You
pay
can
well,
have
but
these.
But he kind of looked at me, or Steven and I, after the second or third flight, and he's like, so do you think it's a good idea for me to buy a plane and to kind of do my own training outside the school? I said, listen, technically, I'm employed by this school. I can only say so much because I have to help them out. On the side note, and I was kind of pushing
This is being
it.
recorded. This is being documented.
I said, here are your options. Here's the benefits, pros and cons.
Good instructor.
I'm not going to lie to you. Here's what's best in your situation. And so that's how that started. And then he bought the airplane. And I was like, oh, you were serious about it. Okay. And then from him, I got 3-4 other students. So I would say, that was a great, part on my end because I got 4 students and access to a plane. Right. So.
And that was too for us. Like that was, like you, I started my journey, years and years ago and off and on for a long time. And the problem that I had was finding flight schools with time that worked with my schedule mostly.
That's
and that was the benefit that we talked about for getting a plane is like, well, we just were killing the issue of time and everything. And I was driving to Augusta to fly over at Augusta Regional Airport, which my instructor was great, very nice. Plane was nice, you know. I like ours better, truth be told. But both. But driving to Augusta, doing all that, you know, it's already hard to get in the time between work and everything else. And when I'm not competing with other people, I mean, us, right? But not many. And that was so much better, you know. And again, we were saving a little bit of money in comparison to renting from a school. So that was a big.
And prices continue to creep up for rentals right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, our own flight school, we had to raise the prices. So not happy there, but unfortunately, that's just the way aviation is. It's very price driven. Much like realtors, it's probably the same increase and decrease, probably tied together.
Everything's more expensive right now. So, and this could be a two-part question. Let's just say somebody is interested in starting to fly. Like if I said, you know, kind of like when Dean tried to get me to come to CrossFit, if he tried to convince me to earn my pilot's license, what's the process? Where do you start?
I'd ask for your credit score.
780.
So right now it has been word of mouth completely. It's just people that we've known that were interested in it. But I mean, we can just have a conversation about that and kind of get started. I mean, it's really, if you have interest and we have time, obviously we are not at the maximum usage of the plane, but we don't want to get to the point where, to what Dean just said, waiting on the plane and, I can't get it scheduled. I can't do the thing that I wanted to do. So, I mean, we want to keep it very small, but we would definitely be open to having that conversation.
So,
Are you asking like, what do you do?
yeah. So like, would someone just contact you and say, "Hey, I'm interested in flying"?
So we would give permission. We would grant you permission to use our plane and give you Nick's contact information, and then he'll talk plane. But I would say the first thing you should do, talk plane, because it's not going to be me. But you should go fly. Like, you should ride with him, see if it's something you like, if it makes you excited, and not make it so
Discovery flight.
yeah, educational and I've got to learn, but just, do I like this? Does this make me feel excited? And if the answer is yes,
Now you should explore that.
then you would just further that conversation with Nick.
So does it start in the classroom or does it start in the plane?
It starts a little bit of both. So with the discovery flight, what an instructor should do, I say this now, there's going to be an instructor watching this being like, I don't do it that way. Sure. But my whole point for that discovery flight is getting you interested in aviation. So I kind of split it up into two ways. One is the boring part, which is doing the things that people don't typically expect of the pre-flight. So we walk around the entire airplane, we inspect it before we go fly.
You do that on a discovery flight?
Oh yeah, I show my students exactly what's happening. I show them what they're moving inside the controls and get them used to seeing, okay, if I move the controls to the left, this is what moves on the outside. Showing that they have control over the airplane, because that helps a lot with people's nerves as well. And then once we get up into the flight, I'll be doing the taxiing and takeoff, talking through everything I'm doing, showing them how to move the controls. Once we get up into the air, I will give them the controls. So they will have control of the airplane. They're the ones flying. I might be telling them just a couple of things to do, but ultimately it is their freedom to do whatever they want. They can fly over their house, they can fly over Lake Murray, which is an area by us. They can do anything within reason.
Sure.
And afterwards, and then afterwards I asked him, I said, is this something that you think you can do? And usually the response is, yes, that was a lot easier than I thought. And I say, cool. Now there's the other boring part, and it's all the ground knowledge that comes with it.
Good boy, don't we know?
So I sell them on the flight, and then I break them with the ground. But really, the discovery flight is what gets a lot of people. They love the passion of flying. They love the sights. They love how calm it is as well. It's a lot smoother than driving a car, especially on the roads here in South Carolina. So, yeah. But yeah, it's different. And plus, people love to brag that they get to do the niche things. And, the guy who says he's a pilot at a bar gets a free shot sometimes.
Yeah. Try being the most interesting man in Aiken.
Shot of penicillin. That was a bad joke.
So what? So what?
Please don't shut that out.
What are there like hours? Like you have to have X amount of hours for this,
So many.
X amount of hours for this.
So many hours. So many. It's so
I
many.
see why you don't have your license.
So much learning.
So I'm going to say this without actually referencing regulations because we'll be here forever. The FAA.
The quick version, Cliff Notes. Cliff Notes.
So the FAA minimum hours that you need is 40 hours total. National average is around 65 to 70, although now that's being skewed up more towards 70 and 80 just because people's finances are taking longer. Everyone's going back to work, so there's more gaps in between training and also their own personal way of training. You know, if you need more time to get something, you need to take that time. You
Sure.
can't just,
Check a box.
Yeah, you can't check a box. I mean, this is really, I'm making sure that you are safe to fly, not only yourself, your friends, your family, or anyone else who can be with you. So that's the instructor's responsibility, making sure someone doesn't crash and burn. But it really just depends. At least 40 hours is the minimum, and then your comfortability in the airplane, and then me making sure that you are practicing safe operations. You show me all that, you got all the knowledge, you hit all the boxes, then you go for your check ride, which is the exam to get your license.
Nice. And do you do that as well?
I cannot do check ride examinations. That is a job for a DPE or the designated pilot examiner. And they are just a very fancy pilot who puts on an examiner's cap, sits in the seat and tells you what to do. If you do everything they say and you don't crash and burn, you pass.
Nice.
Sounds easy, right?
It does. So what? So 40 hours. I understand you can't do that in a work week. What's the average like? So if somebody says, like we talked about, somebody just coming up and going, I think I want to start flying. Are we talking about? Obviously, they're probably
Oh, this is a
working.
question we've still don't know the answer to. You're asking how long will it take you? Yeah. How? Yeah. I mean, how good are you?
Right.
How much can you retain the information that's giving?
It's your
Comfort
life, like how
level,
busy you are.
right?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
You have kids and stuff like that.
It really boils down to the comfort that you have. I mean,
It's longer than what you think, I think is what we've learned.
But Thomas, the other member, he's done it very quickly, and he's adding an additional rating. He's getting his instrument rating, and I think he's doing his check ride on August 9th. So
But
he's
he
doing
put in
that
a
soon.
lot. He
But
was able to
he
put
did
in
it
a lot of time.
very, very quickly.
So what's quickly?
incredibly quick.
3 months?
3-4 months, I believe.
That's incredibly quick.
Like that's not.
You've been doing it for like 12 years, and he's been working with you.
genius.
He's the valedictorian.
Got it. He did it so fast because I remember
That's why he.
because I met Thomas through them, and then they was like, "Oh, Thomas wants to get his too." And as he started, nope, he just got the books and started, and then it was gone. I was like, "That's incredible."
So if you can devote a lot of time to it, I mean,
You can get it done very quickly.
yeah, okay, great. But if normal life is involved, you have a full-time job, so probably a year or two.
Yeah, I would say about a year. That's really typical. If you're consistent, year or two with all the things that go around in that. I think that's a realistic time frame.
I always joke with people. I said it can either take 2 months to 2 years. It is entirely dependent on you and your instructor's availability.
In your checkbook,
Yeah,
that helps.
it does. Well, fuel's expensive. Everything's expensive.
And having an instructor,
Paying that, everything.
renting the plane.
What's the maintenance on a plane? I mean, like you change it every 3,000 miles.
Yeah, so
Like a boat, but worse.
every 30 flight hours, we change the oil. I say we. Did y'all do that? Yeah, we did.
Oh, now you want credit?
No.
I say we, I mean me.
So that and then just random things occur. So we've had strut issues that we had to fix that. We had brake issues, we had to fix that.
Came out of the plane.
Spark plugs that we need to replace. Just random things that have just general maintenance that we have to continue. And
Can we fly or
luckily
not?
So Dean and I at the beginning, clearly we didn't know because Nick would be like, "We can't fly this." Dean and I are like, "I feel like I can." I think
Who
he's
needs
just-
brakes?
I think
It's
he's
a
just
plane.
being over
The ground,
man, I'm here.
the ground is our brakes.
We've scheduled this.
me and Nick were preparing to fly the day that one of the brakes started going out, and I was kind of like, I mean, we're going to go up, so we really don't. We're like, we'll be fine, right? He was like, no, let's circle back around. Like, park the plane.
We would be making very bad decisions. This too comes with experience and
And
time.
why we aren't pilots yet.
No, I distinctly remember Steven's like, well, I mean, the brake is like, it's leaking brake fluid. Can we still fly? And I said, tell you what, let's get in the airplane and test the brakes. So that's something we do on every flight. We taxi forward a little bit,
It's part of the
and we step on the rudder pedals. You know, the left rudder pedal controls the left brake, right one controls the right. Well, the right brake worked, the left one did not. So we started taxiing forward, and I told Steven, I said, okay, cool, step on the brakes. So we step on the brakes, and then we start drifting.
Keep on going because we're going back.
Yeah. And so,
I was like, we could use one, right?
yeah, and then Steven's like, well, I guess it's probably not good to fly then. I said, yeah, let's go
Good
back.
call. He's notorious for doing these things where it's like this Jedi mind trick. Like,
I know, like makes you
so
figure out for yourself.
try it, see what happens.
Good instructor.
Yeah.
But it's like, and plus that also goes back to instructor techniques. A lot of instructors would be like, you know what, this tiny little thing is making me doubt the flight. If I doubt the flight, I don't think it's safe, we're going to cancel. Sure. That's a great way of teaching it. But if the student doesn't realize or had the past experience, they're unable to draw from that if they're making the decision. And then the other instructors are like, okay, well, if the brakes fail, I can slow the airplane down doing this, or you know, if we have a long enough runway, we can come to a stop. So I will be the one to do that. You will just fly in the air. And those instructors, I'm not going to comment on that because, oh well. But I think it's, yeah, yeah. But it's like I think it's important for people to see kind of where mistakes can be made, getting used to seeing what happens if that, you know, with a brake failure, okay, if you can't even taxi, how would you be able to stop the airplane on the runway? Right. You know, if you're going 2 miles an hour, trying to take a turn, that's one thing. If you're going 80 miles an hour down the runway and take a turn, you'll drift and flip the plane.
So
Not the cool drift.
But not in a cool way.
yeah. Night Rider.
Not in Fight Club way.
Flight Club. All right, so tell me this. What's the scariest you've ever been in the plane?
Don't bring it up.
And there's bonus points if he's involved.
It's me.
There are 3 times that I have been scared out of my mind in an airplane.
Was Dean one of them?
He's getting there.
Okay.
So the first time we were flying out of Chattanooga at night, flying
I
over
don't
the
think
mountains.
you understand the story we want.
No, he's getting there. I want to hear the others.
setting it up.
I'm going to judge on this. How
Listen,
bad
a
it
good
was.
storyteller sets it up.
We'll do it. So the first time we were flying out of Chattanooga, and I had a windshield mount for my iPad to look at charts and stuff. The windshield mount fell, hit the autopilot disconnect button, shut the lights off, go into the avionics master, and push the yoke down so we were in a down, like descending down and turning to the left. As we were going over the mountains, so we had no lights, no radio, the airplane was pitched down, we couldn't really see well, and my instructor and I were panicking, trying to flip everything on. We got the airplane back and flew. It took maybe 3 seconds total.
But it felt like forever.
Felt like forever. So that was the first time. The second time, during my instructor training, we do something called spins. So spins is where you go up in an airplane, you stall it, so you pitch really high, and you kick the rudder, which causes turning, and you spiral down very fast. We went
Makes you
from
want to vomit.
It
yeah,
does.
we went from
I've seen the video.
8,000 to 4,000 feet in less than a minute. So very fast descent, but it's very controlled. I was just scared because it's my first time doing it.
Real controlled.
Oh yeah.
Spiraling to your death.
I've never had that happen on my Delta flight. I'm just telling you.
And then the third time, I was flying with the student who shall not be named.
But he.
We were up in the
Or
pattern.
pointed to.
And so we were up in the pattern. So we were staying close to the airport, practicing takeoffs and
Can you
landings.
be a little dramatic about it though?
We were in the air,
Yeah.
right? And we were doing something called a GUMPS check. This is a pre-landing check to make sure you have fuel going to the engine, that all your lights are on, you're configured to land. And so part of that is we say mixture full rich. Now, the airplane, you have to push the mixture in, and then the carb heat, which is a lever next to the mixture, you pull that out. So if you pull the mixture out, it shuts off flow to the engine. So I'm watching Dean and everything.
Things are so close together.
You would think in the
So
design
close
they
together.
would be like on
Why
opposite
are they next
sides.
to each other? That
Yeah,
makes
makes
no
sense.
sense.
Yeah. And so, I'm looking outside, scanning for traffic. This is probably our 7th or 8th takeoff and landing of the day. So Dean
was
has to
going
slow
great.
down. And so, he's doing all this stuff. So he's like, okay, throttle set, carpet out, mixture full rich. And he pulls it all the way out. So you have about 3 or 4 seconds before the engine shuts off. I see it. And I'm like, no, let's not do
It was more
that.
dramatic than, not that one! He slams it into the dash.
And so we make the landing, and Dean looks at me. He's like, I probably shouldn't have done that. And I'm like,
It was a lesson that you all know.
It's a good instructor to see it though, because it is a very simple thing.
And
to
it's so,
miss.
it was fast too. Like I was going through it. Like I said, I wasn't going through it fast, but I was flowing through it. And as soon as I pulled it, he was like, not that one, whoosh, and slammed it. But he didn't do it like alarmingly, like his urgency in his voice was really stern, but very calm, which was
he
impressive.
was a good parent.
Very good parent.
Good parent.
Very good parent. And I did that, and I was like,
And that,
that
was on the
pretty
descent?
bad.
that is where we call,
Staging up.
yeah. So we were flying parallel to the runway, and we're about to make our turn to land, is where you do the GUMPS check. And he did that right as we were descending, and I was like, hey, let's not do that.
If it shut the engine off at that moment, we probably would have been in the trees, because I just don't think we had enough. You think we would have made it?
He thinks you would have been in the.
My controls. You're out.
It's like, I don't know if we were landing on a runway. I would have made it to a road, a field, somewhere safe to land. But that
So
low
it
to the ground.
Serious.
It was pretty
Very.
So that was your scariest moment.
No, I think the mountains got me. I think the mountains saved me.
Second scariest.
Third.
No, that was the third story.
I think they were all tied for first.
Yeah, but it's a simple mistake that anyone can do, and
But
everyone
only
has
being
to it. Like, brand new pilots do it. Pilots who have 10,000 hours of experience, 20, 30 years flying for an airline, they do that mistake.
Oh, that feels scary because we're getting backup watched right now. Who's watching the 10,000 pilot?
Yeah, but that's the hard thing. And so you catch the mistake, you learn from it, and then you try not to do it again. So
I haven't made the mistake since.
And I was learning.
That's called learning.
You learn from that.
What about you? Have you had a scary moment in the air?
I don't think so. What do you think? Is anything scary?
not anything that we have done. There was once where we had other airplanes flying into the field. So there was 7 or 8 planes all
very
flying
busy
into the
that day,
pattern. And we had to navigate around them. 4 of them were jets. 3 of them were other smaller airplanes like us. And 1 of them didn't have a radio. And we didn't know where they were.
Oh, man.
That's true.
So we were constantly looking outside and everything. We landed and Steven's like, I think it's a little bit busy. Let's call it a day. And I'm like, absolutely. Start taxiing back.
They probably weren't using their blinkers and stuff either.
Yeah, not their blinkers. Have I done anything scary?
No, you
Almost
were...
threw up on him.
Yeah, that is true. You almost did throw up. But, you know, the super awesome cool job prepares me for that, and then flight instruction.
You bring an extra shirt?
Throw up in your shirt. Didn't you say that?
Yeah.
Throw up in your shirt.
Tuck
These are
in
tips.
your shirt.
These are tips,
If you're gonna
folks.
throw up, you go like.
Pay attention.
Yeah. Throw up in your shirt because you don't want to throw up on the thousands of dollars of avionics, and you don't want to clean the airplane in the hot sun. It's easier to take a shower than to clean the airplane.
Throw up in your shirt. In your shirt. Allie, after we got started in this journey, Allie went and bought barf bags for the plane.
I thought you were going to say overalls.
No.
With a pocket?
Barf bags for the plane, but the irony is they are all the way in the back.
It's bad.
Someone take the stick. I got to go get the bucket.
I need to put
Never gonna get to them, and I was like, why are they back there?
Yeah. So I realized that at the moment I wanted one,
Right.
and finally
They're back there.
I know I need to move them to the behind the thing, but I finally was like,
Take
I can't do this anymore.
your
I'm like,
controls.
I'm just trying not to throw up.
Crawling in the back of it.
There's times I've gotten sick to takeoffs, landings. If it gets really windy, you're just gonna run into stuff that's gonna make you nauseous, especially on hot summer days and stuff. It's rough, and so
The plane doesn't have AC.
it
I was
doesn't
going to
have
say
AC.
1959,
No,
they
yeah.
probably didn't have AC.
No AC.
Most
You
planes
can crack the
don't,
window.
Yeah, so we pop the
What
window.
about the front window? Can you open that?
Oh, birds will do that for you. But I've had to pop that window open and just kind of hang. We have a nice window that ours are like bubbled, and
So you can, like, look out and
actually
look down,
see
which is
down
nice.
and everything. But other planes that I've flown in previously, it's been so bad that I've had to pop the door open and just kind of, get my, it's some days are better than others, and what you eat before or how you prepare yourself.
I mean, but I am one that's just, I am prone to motion sickness. Like, I have to sit in the front seat of the car,
Real prima donna.
Yeah, it's
It's a lot.
a lot.
I'm sorry.
So I don't think the way I feel as often as I feel is normal. Like, I think I get motion sickness.
And we said, I think we as a group said, I think the more we do it, the better we'll get.
That's what they said to me.
They
But
always say.
I haven't felt that yet. I do think, though, that if you're somebody like, I say all that, I get sick all the time, blah, 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 but I think I can fly in the plane. Like, when you're training, you're doing the scary things, you're doing the emergency things, you're doing everything that causes motion sickness. That's literally what you're doing for 2 hours. Whereas if you're flying from one point to the other, you go up, you go straight, you come down. Like, that is what you do, but you don't need to be trained on the easy stuff. So, like, I get it.
It's tough. I mean,
So I think passenger flying and training are different.
Sure.
how we've talked about this as a group before, but how do y'all see yourselves using the plane for family trips and stuff? I mean, you've got a daughter, and
I do feel like you should ask us separately
yeah,
because we have a little bit different goals.
because I want to hear this unfold.
Go ahead.
Please.
So I want to travel and I want to go on vacations and I want to get in the plane. I want to go to my destination and I want to get off of the plane.
Yeah.
If we're going to a cool place that's like a beautiful to see, like I'll take an excursion to fly around and see this place from a bird's eye view.
Right.
And then I don't want to see the plane again.
Park
Until,
it.
then I went to get out of the plane and go do the fun thing, whether it's skiing. Like, I think the one thing I am excited about a lot is skiing in the beach. Like, to go to good skiing is a 6-hour car ride.
Where do y'all go? Like snowshoe?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
that's where I go.
but we could go to real snow and it'd be a 2-hour plane ride.
Yeah.
That's less than going to Charleston and back. So that's an easy weekend thing where it's not a whole ordeal where you're like, we're driving this far, we should make it last a little longer, or you know what I mean? So that is exciting to me. And then just beach days, like just going to, like the Outer Banks. Like, I think that's a cool.
Yeah, there's a tiny airport that you park your plane and you can walk to the beach. It's right on the Outer Banks.
Or like Disney World. Like,
Disney World, that's where I was.
like Disney World is like yeah. If you wanted to fly, like if you can get to where you
Can you really?
Yes, you can.
yeah.
I was kidding. They'll allow
Yeah.
small planes.
Absolutely.
Atlanta, we can fly to Atlanta.
They might not like you flying in there. If you file a flight plan and get cleared to that airport, they will work you in the sequence. Sometimes they do get busy where they tell you it's like, okay, we can't fit you in. There's too many
We're gonna
planes coming in.
send you
Go.
over here. But there are a lot of times.
There's so many airports
there's-
right there.
Yeah.
It's
It's unbelievable how many
Yeah.
airports there are across the
50,000
country.
private, 50,000 public airports in the United States, around that number.
It's insane.
Yeah, so it makes it where that you could do a day trip if you wanted to get up early. I mean, you have to have the ratings to fly at night and whatnot, or just do one night, hit one park, hit another park, next day you fly back. You know, like all of those things, it doesn't have to be so long or such a, because I have a thing, if I'm driving like 4 hours, I'm not going to stay 1 or 2 nights. Like it's got to be worth it. But that means taking out of jobs. It means taking your kid out of school and all of these things
that go along with that.
Right.
What about you?
So, I mean, I want to do all of those things, but I enjoy just exploring too, just going up, and that's my hope is I can fly around and just look at stuff, you know, do little tours of different areas, but that's going to take a lot of maneuvering that she's not interested in.
You're hoping to use this for work as well.
Yeah. So I'm starting a new position where I'm covering Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. So I'm doing assistive technology. So I'm basically helping with individuals that cannot communicate. I supply them with technology so they can communicate and access their environment, all things like that. So that's a big area to cover. So I'm really hoping I can utilize the plane to go deliver equipment, go on, you know, repair calls, do trainings and things like that. Because driving to Raleigh, you know, is a pretty far drive, right?
Fatiguing.
And fatiguing. By the time you get there, you want to, so that's going to take multiple days, have to stay over. But if I can do an hour and a half, 2 hour flight at max, that my furthest destination, that's going to be way more efficient. So I don't have to book a hotel, you know.
So I'm glad you brought up work, because part of bringing you guys in for our Dapper Dialogue is when people see this, all 6 of our viewers, they're going to recognize you guys. You guys are staples
In Aiken.
I mean, particularly downtown Aiken, but in
I would
Aiken.
say only downtown Aiken.
No. You guys are infamous. I mean famous. But when people do see it, they're going to say, "Oh, I recognize her from downtown." I mean, you guys are big participants in our downtown area. You own like 18 businesses,
Give or take.
give or take.
Who's counting?
Tell us, if you can recall all your businesses, tell us what you own and how they affect Aiken, and what your vision was. Because it was like 10 years ago when you kind of like came on the scene and like.
Yeah, so
Has it been that long?
Well, my first business failed. So
Well,
so from then
produce
it's
Yeah. And I thought it was great.
So I first started with Aiken Organics. I try to live a healthy lifestyle. I try to healthy, if you will. I try to eat well, blah 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 blah. And I was wanting to provide a service for that lifestyle. The profit margin was really, really low, and I didn't have a strong enough customer base to make that work. So that's what got me into like my first business. And then when I had that, I then opened the Alley Downtown Tap Room. We saw the concept in Denver, Colorado. And
Great. Yeah.
and that, like, I feel like I didn't have a place in Aiken. I know I have makeup on and a dress right now, but that happens like 5 times a year. Okay.
We usually don't see each other.
I almost
this
introduced
way.
myself
Yeah.
to you when I walked
Hi,
in.
Are you
we've never
surprised
met.
who's that?
We've
Yeah.
never met.
Yeah.
I thought Allie was going to be
Like, man.
So like I felt like there was places that I had to really shower for or like get ready for, and I didn't want to. Or I felt like I was going to leave it and I'm going to have to go shower because now I feel like I'm just drenched in cigarette smoke. I mean, I like it's
Boy, I remember those places.
like that, but that's what it
Yeah,
felt like at the time. Like I wanted to go to a place dirty and leave equally as dirty, you know? Yeah. Anyway, so I started the tap room to have that dirty place. And then with that, we started Anthe Alley, which isn't really a business, but I think that was a key thing to creating like a heartbeat of our downtown. Like Anthe Alley is just businesses and sponsorship put money in. We pay musicians. Like nobody
benefits.
benefits from
the
that
people
except it
coming
creates
in
a
and
heartbeat of your
creating
downtown, which
Financially,
has
nobody benefits, but the community benefits
right.
from the attraction.
But I just think that's something that for Aiken has been important.
Very, very.
and then opened Whiskey Alley, and then Giraffe Society in Augusta.
Yeah.
And then this past January, the Red Door, which is Asian fusion restaurant.
Right. Great sake.
Thanks.
It really is. Did you pick those out?
No.
No.
She hired someone to do that.
Somebody with more
Well,
knowledge.
the reason I asked that is because Shannon never had sake prior to, and
I mean,
I believe she
did I
never
pick them
had.
out? No, but was I a part of sampling? Yes.
Yeah. Okay. This one's amazing.
Yeah, I'm like, exactly.
Yeah.
I love this
This
one.
one's good.
Can I tell you a really funny story?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
No. moving
About
on.
sampling. So when we opened Whiskey Alley, anything I did, especially, I had no idea what I was doing. I just
Winging it.
winged it and leaned on people that did it before and just,
Here we go.
here we go. We'll see how this, worst case scenario, I learned a lot.
Things happen.
But so in this world, it's a man's world.
It's amazing.
And so we were tasting whiskeys. And what you do when you sample, because you really need to sample and get the flavor profile.
Right.
Your goal is not
Let it
to
burn
get
your gums.
not to get drunk, right? So you taste it, you swirl it around, and you spit it out. And something about spitting it out just made me feel unladylike. Like I just didn't want to do it. So I didn't. And I'm a lightweight. Like by all means, I'm the first one tipsy at the table.
I can't feel my teeth.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna spit. I'm not gonna spit. And it got to the end, and I'm like, I am so drunk. So this cup now is full
with everybody else's.
of everybody else's.
You
So
didn't-
toward the
God.
end, I decided to spit. I spit too
Oh.
hard, and it goes.
back in your face.
I thought you were going to say you drank.
I did too. I did too. I was like, I might throw up. I need
Yeah,
the
I didn't
bags.
mean for that to happen, but I was like, at that time, it's funny now, but I was like, that's the opposite of being a lady. Like, I should have just,
Yeah, I've been doing it the whole time.
yeah.
Man, that's
That's
a good
gross.
story.
So you learn.
Yeah.
You learn.
So that's 4 businesses, correct? That you have going right now. Not including the flight club, but
That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep.
right. So what's your vision over the next couple years? Is you just going to keep going with that? They're obviously very successful. Are you looking at expanding anything else? What?
I would say I'm always open. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I know what I want my end game to look at, and how I get there, I'll figure it out as I go. I'm sure there's going to be some businesses that work better than others, and some doors will open as others close. And
yeah. But
we'll
I think you
learn.
have to be open to that.
yeah, I mean, this flight club could be something amazing, and maybe it just ends up being a fun thing that we do. Like, I'm always open. I would say now that I have a daughter, I'm a little bit more picky, because I don't want to miss things either. Like, I genuinely want to be a part of it. So anything I look at, it is, how can I run this from a distance? And if I can't do that, I don't think I'm interested where I am today. But when she's in middle school and high school or gone, like, I think,
Everyone
Now
has.
you're back to, hey, I got time.
Right.
You have seasons in life.
Yeah, exactly.
And I, as parents,
Your season is changing now. right?
exactly. So it's where we have access to certain things, or allow things to influence our lives based off of our work schedule, our family schedule, whatever.
Right.
So
and in some of it, it's like, this is really exciting. Maybe I can have somebody do it for me. And then maybe I can bump in where I want to, because this seems like a great idea and I don't want to miss this opportunity, but I can't physically be there as much. But with that is sometimes hard, because people never do things in the way you want it.
Or
You want it done, or the love of it. But you have to let go of that control.
You do. I've also
For the freedom.
noticed that when people when you're the financial part of that
They're
business,
loosey goosey with it.
yeah, if they're not financially invested, they tend not to have that same passion
Right.
that you have. So it's I totally get what you're saying. You want to step back, but you also don't want to just let it go and then have heartache.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just finding like, I mean, I feel like I have good people.
Yeah, you do.
I have good people that love what they do, that I think care about the business, and I think for the most part they understand if the business is doing well, then that means they're doing well. But if the business is not,
Right. One thing I've noticed about your businesses, I feel like the people that are working there, they take ownership, and I think that's the goal as a business owner, is to have people that feel like they have ownership in the business, because then they treat it like you would. They love it. They take care of their clients, and no matter whether you're doing real estate, transportation, aviation, a restaurant, whatever, if your customer feels like they're the most important thing, then you're going to be successful and you're going to have people coming back. One thing that I enjoy as a realtor, Nadine does too, is walking people around our downtown. Yeah. And your places are always places we take them by. You got to go by here. You got to get the burger.
give you guys like discount cards or things
That would be great.
to give your
To give our
people.
clients, yeah. I mean, look, that our clients, we really genuinely do that for
all
our
of
people,
downtown, but-
right? And getting gift cards and stuff to
Yeah.
places like y'all's places and stuff. I mean, we want them to explore that. That's what we love about the heartbeat of our downtown is that. So that's why we encourage it. So if you would like to do that,
I would love to do that.
Thank you.
I scratch your back, you scratch mine.
There was 3 or 4 times where pilots have flown in here and, they talk in the FBO to the people at the desk and they're like, hey, where's some good areas to kind of eat? And you're like,
Places
man,
always come up.
yeah, you hear all the time, it's like, man, I'm really craving a burger. I don't know what it is about flying into Aiken. Everybody wants a burger. And it's like, oh, well, you want a burger? Yeah, Whiskey Alley. And if you're not flying, then Whiskey Alley. So,
It works either way.
but I remember it was the first time I met Thomas. Thomas, and I sat down, talked about the airplane when it came here. We went there. That was my first time going there. I got the fish and chips. Absolutely amazing. And I just remembered, I was like, man, this is a really good place. So I just kind of keep on recommending that to people that fly in.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's nice. Speaking of this place at Aiken Airport, I feel like we really lucked out. Like, I mean, Aiken's great already, but Aiken Airport, and you said, because you fly obviously more places than we have been able to do that, but you said Aiken Airport really is a nice, like, FBO.
Yeah, there is different airports. Obviously, they get funding from either the state, the city that they're in, or just private investors that own it. There are some companies that are corporations that are FBOs, such as Signature. They're kind of like the McDonald's of FBOs. They're very nice. They do, they fuel your airplane. They can help you with rental cars. But a lot of FBOs don't have them. So they're like Aiken. They have one building provided by the county, and the staff there is pick and choose, 50-50, either really good, mediocre, or sometimes you do have bad experiences. And with Aiken, they do strive to be the best. They are handling not only small airplanes, 4-seaters like what
How many
Dean
times
and
have we come
Steven-
in here and just jets are lying?
A lot of
out
jets,
here.
especially for the
It is.
Masters.
Yeah.
Whenever the
This
Masters
place
come in.
is like nuts. And did we talk about volunteering for next year?
Yeah, we talked about volunteering.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
And it was that day wasn't even as busy.
Wasn't
It's
even
like-
busy.
So I came back Thursday evening, in the middle of the Masters, and it was just insane. I've counted like over 100 private jets just sitting
Sunday
there.
night.
Sunday night. Yeah, we had some kind of coming in and going out.
Just
Yeah.
in and out. But that's, I mean, like you said, this place.
I think that
really,
needs to be a flight club tradition.
I think so too.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Dean, like on Saturday, he was like, we were talking about what are you doing this weekend, and he was like, we're gonna watch planes fly in. I was like, okay, great.
Cool.
And he's like, you ought to come, and I'm like, you know what, I'm free.
Yeah, your family was out of town, and so you're like,
I got
oh, I got
nothing
nothing to
else
do.
brought a chair.
Yeah.
And we did. We watched.
Sat
the
in
planes.
front of the hangar, and that was nice. The hangar is great. We have a hangar now, and that's yeah, we're big time now. So.
We can open
Yeah,
it.
right, yeah.
We can open the door now.
Yeah, we figured that out. We're unstoppable, really.
We can open the door.
But no, I do love the Aiken Airport so much, and they've done a really good job with how they. I mean, you just call them up and they fueling your plane up and
Look, the fact of the matter is we're blessed in Aiken.
Yeah.
We have a great community. Really, the CSRA. I mean, the whole entire area is great. North Augusta, the town is great. They're growing. Aiken is growing, and I feel like every couple years we just make that step up for better and bigger and nicer. So,
but you guys are a big part of those
Absolutely.
big steps. I mean, well, I know Stephen always goes, well, Allie really is the mastermind on that. Well, thank you, Allie.
never mind.
Forget you, Allie. Good job.
Give credit where credit's due.
No, but I do think y'all are big reasons why Aiken is growing the way it is, and you know, a testament to the work that y'all put into the downtown area. So thank y'all for that. What else?
Thank you guys for your time. Appreciate you all coming in.
Nick,
Yeah, Nick.
our
thank you.
CFI.
Thank
Give it
you.
up for Nick, everybody.
Thank you for your patience with Dean.
Yeah,
Pushing-
look,
Risking your
Hey,
life.
I'll
tell
try to
it-
kill you again. I promise.
I want you to be honest. How is it teaching Dean and I?
I think we're
Where do you enjoy yourself more? Teaching?
between us.
But
Or
no,
between us or in
we're going to be like one.
Okay.
Because we're like one type of person, and then there's this
Yeah,
type of person.
there's Steven and,
Which one
and
do
Shannon,
you,
my wife.
not who do you feel more safe with, but like who do you enjoy working with more? I already know the answer. We know the
It's
answer.
fine. It's
Like-
fine.
like-
He knows the
Nah.
answer.
We all know the
Just
answer.
tell them
You're
what
not
they want to hear.
offended.
Tell them what they want to hear.
Oh, no, I'm going to give the unbiased answer, and really all of my students.
Nick.
Smart. Give
All of my
Man.
students are the best. There's no clear
Oh,
favorite.
whatever.
It's
I
no one
know.
in particular.
BS.
Nobody at
You
all.
are
Yeah.
unique.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but
Get
You are
it.
unique.
Yeah.
so it's like, for instance, Stephen, whenever we have a lesson, he's very methodical. He does everything the same exact way.
Loser.
And he has a
Safety
process.
first.
He's very safe with the airplane. He does the pre-flight. He does everything. He follows the flows and checklists. He has it all written out. And then flying with Dean has a flow that he does. He very much gets into a pattern with everything.
Flies in on two wheels. Jump, I'm ready. Let's go. Where are we going?
And so it's like both of them have their own differences.
Hey, man.
And then Allie comes in and then she does it, but she's constantly asking questions like, okay, so I want to memorize everything better. So what is this? What is that? And I would
I
ask
think
her,
she toils between being between the two of us. She's like got one side that she goes, I should probably do it this way. Look, man, I fly by feel. Feels right.
I'll be like, I
feel
need
it.
to know what this is called. I know you told me every
Yeah.
time for the past 6 months, but like, what is
Buttery
the
landings,
wing called?
that's all
What
I
is that
got.
wing called again?
yeah, and so,
Where's the gas go?
Fuselage.
yeah, but there's, everyone has their unique style, so that's
I called
kind of,
it the empanada
I can't
for a
pick
long
one
time.
because everyone is different enough that it's just, well, Dean's really good in this area, Steven's good in this area, and Allie's good in this area. So I can't pick an exact favorite.
But you did
Hey.
see. Make sure the camera got the.
Together.
Okay.
Together we're a tripod.
Yeah. Well, perfect. Well, listen, guys, again,
Thank y'all
thank
for
you
taking
for
the
your
time.
time. Yeah, this was great.
Yeah.
Ended up much better than I thought it was going to be. So,
More interesting than he expected.
well, when you got Dean involved, most interesting man in Aiken.
I got one more question.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. I want to ask this. Top Gun or Iron Eagle?
I have not seen Iron Eagle, so that'll probably answer your question.
Are you
right there.
even an instructor?
What the hell? Get out.
So
Come on.
actually, the greatest movie,
Gun?
Iron Eagle.
You haven't
She
seen
has
it,
no
have
idea
you?
what Iron Eagle is.
You don't.
She doesn't.
Never mind.
I've never seen either.
We're done here.
Good place to end.
so
Yeah. So I was
I
ending
think
it
plane movies are
before
stupid.
we got to that question. So we're going to keep my ending because that went down like the plane.
Crash and burn, baby.
But you were going to say.
I was
Like
about
you
to say,
pulled the mixture out of the interview.
the most accurate airplane movie ever made, in my opinion, is just it's a small film
called a documentary.
Yeah, it's a
It's called
documentary.
Airplane.
It is Airplane. It's the most accurate movie ever
We're
made
back.
about airplanes.
The most accurate film,
I
Airplane.
Love it. I love it.
Doesn't mean it's good.
It's great. It is great. I love Airplane.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys
Thank y'all.
very much.
Thank you
Look
for
forward
your
to
time.
seeing you
Thank
guys
for
around
effort.
town.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, we just wrapped up that episode. Danny, that was fun, right?
That was a lot of fun.
Did you learn anything?
I learned a lot.
I
A
hope
lot.
so. I hope you learned that you can
learned
trust to fly with me.
No,
fly
I
with the
learned
best.
never to fly with you.
Fly with the guy that'll get you on the ground quick. So we talked about a lot of stuff. I think you're gonna love this episode because it talks about the nuances of planes and buying a plane and learning to fly. Our flight instructor, Nick, is fantastic. Highly recommend. We also talk about the Aiken Airport and other businesses in Aiken that our flight club partners are owning. So it's a lot of great stuff about Aiken.
A little sneak peek. Our next episode, we're going to feature some organizations in Aiken that are giving organizations, like the Gifting Tree, which we're both board members on. So we're going to feature a couple of those, maybe pass out a few donations to those companies, so that you'll know if anything ever arises and you're in need, you know who to go to in our area. So I think we're going to have a lot of fun with that. So we're going to call that our giving episode. So I hope you guys will follow us for that one.
It's gonna be great.
Thank you as always.
Thank you.
Danny Manolfo,
Dean Cavero.
Erie Wilder Concierge. Thank you.